Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 4th of June 2020. Today we are going to have a look at the Australian dollar, American dollar first of all, and then we'll have a look at some other pairs afterwards. So first of all, we need to identify where the current flows are in the Australian dollar, American dollar. And if we look at here, this chart, the monthly chart, you can see that price has had a massive rejection down here. So that would lead me to believe that we have bullish flows currently. So we have money moving into the Australian dollar and out of the American dollar. And if we have a look at where this shift in momentum occurred, it happened here. Okay, so let's do an analysis of the bars here. So we had a nice area of supply here. There's a child just here. Okay, this was tested almost, this was tested, but price didn't hold, and then price moved down, we accumulated as a reaction of this. So we have a parent, we have a child, then price moved through it. So we have price kind of moving away from this area here. It's going to move this. Okay, so this is where this move originated, that moved through this area of supply, and this parent just here. And price came pretty close to it, and now price is slowly wriggling higher. And so the next question is, well, where do we have supply? Well, I can see supply here. This is beautiful, and the software brought this to our attention. And this is supply because we had beautiful demand here. And this is demand because we had supply just here, which was tested numerous times, once, twice. Then price was rejected. The second time, we moved to an opposing area of demand. Price rallied, accumulated, and then price moved up into it. We closed above these two tests of this area of supply. Excuse me, accumulated, and then we moved higher, pulled the slingshot back, and then we went north. Okay, so this one is gone, and the area that did it is this one just here. So we had a couple of other areas formed. We had this one here, and here this is kind of the higher end, where price moved higher. We tested it. This is the one that moved above here. We moved higher, we came back, we moved through it. So then you ask yourself the question, well, which area took out this demand? Well, this one did here. Well, the software's already marked it off. So this one did here. So price came down, we moved through this, we moved back up to the area that caused the consumption of this, and we moved away. And now price kind of tested this child, this being the parent. So the parent, the child, we tested the child for quite a few weeks, months, and then price cut away. So we have an incredible area here. Price moved away. We nested on this area for quite some time. So we tested it. We moved a little bit deeper, which tells us that we have supply here, just here. Okay, and then we almost get through it, but we don't manage to trade below it. Rather, we don't manage to close below it. Price moves back up to this area here, and then we move through it very, very quickly. But notice that this one here is the one that's responsible for distributing liquidity required to move through this area, and pretty much everything else. Okay, so this one is now gone. We have this whopping area here, and we have this one here, which is still valid, but the sell zone is the higher end of this. And we have this one here, which is really a really delicious area of supply. And so for this one here, we have the area of the sell zone, which, well, first of all, you asked yourself, well, where did price go? So we had this area here, we went down to here, we went up to here, and then we are reacting down here. And so if you connect all these, so from here to here, from here to here, and then all the way back down here, I mean, price managed to move back to this level here. So this is where the sell zone is for this area of supply. So let's just mark that off with a line like so. Then you ask yourself, well, is this the sell zone? Well, we tested something here once, twice, three times, and then we have this one here. So we actually have an area of supply right here. So I'm going to remove this. This was tested a couple of times, and we're going to go down to the weekly chart and have a look. But before we do that, we want to do the same thing here, because this doesn't look very neat and tidy in here, but we do have something going on. We had this area was formed, price came down, tested it, we moved up to the highs, and then we left. So this is demand, not a very stunning one. Tested, and now it's gone. The area that did it is this one. which has been tested. Now it's gone. We also had another one, which is here. The beginning of the buy zone is right there. Tested, tested, and that's gone. And so you can see they kind of traded through, but this is kind of the one that price had to go back to before we managed to move through that area. So this one is also gone, which gives us this. We also had, let's find where these lows are. Yeah, there's not a lot of clarity on this time frame. Let's go to the smaller time frame. So going to the weekly, we can have a look where these areas are. So we have this area of supply. This is a clear supply. We have price moving higher, like so, and then we had price trading below this low. Okay, and then price returned to the area that was responsible for price moving below this low, which was here. The software told us about that, and then we left very quickly. Now we're revisiting this area up here. So this is reacting at the child a little bit. We didn't go quite into as deep as the child did in this area of supply. So price is kind of testing this trend line. This is interesting because this trend line aligns up exactly with where price came to. So if we have a bit of a zoom in, you can see, I mean, this came to this almost to the pip. Okay, now we're having a bit of a reaction there. Let's have a look and see what the histogram is doing. Yeah, the histogram is still moving off the low, so it's negative and moving north, which is why we had such a big push higher. So we had the end of a bull cycle, sorry, a bear cycle. We had very negative variance, and now we are starting to move away, as you can see here. So price is moving up here, and now we are looking to maybe continue to move higher for a while. So let's move down to the daily time frame and start to do our analysis. Sorry, before I do that, let's notice that we do have a couple of areas. We have this one here. Okay, price had these lows. We marked off these lows. We can just do that quickly here. Price sat on it. We cut through. Slingshot was pulled back, and then we left. So that tells us that we have whopping supply here, right there. But notice that the supply is gone. The area that did it is something in here. So we'll go like this. We don't know what it is. We've got something here maybe. That's what we have here. It looks like we have some kind of a parent, child, test, and then a departure. So the area of parent demand has been tested, and this one is so small because the body of this candle is not in the range of the previous. So we do have a couple of areas on top of areas here, but this one here caused the consumption of this, both the child and the parent. So let's go to the daily and have a closer look. Yeah, you can see this. Ooh, I like this one quite a lot. So we do have a few things to look at here. First of all, we need to find out exactly where these areas were tested. Slingshot was pulled back to here. This is kind of a messy one. We're just going to go like that. Okay, price did this, and then we moved through. Let me zoom out. Looks like we have a bit of a kind of a flip zone thingy going on, where we have kind of testing. Price went down, we tested it below, so support becomes resistance. Price rallies up to it, we accumulate, and then we cut through it like a hot knife through butter. And so this area here becomes very interesting to us because we're exhibiting so much strength. Okay, so we've got a daily area right there. I like that one very much. Okay, so this is an interesting area because this is the one that was able to consume the supply over here. Price came back to this area. We had this area of supply here, which was tested once. So the beginning of the sell zone is pretty much where this nested daily supply is located. So we can expect price to maybe have a bounce at about this level here. So this is, I can't even see what that is. So look, parameters. This is the 170.37. Okay, so that's an interesting area. Okay, we also have another interesting area here. I like this one very much because this just showed like shear string how price left. We pulled back the slingshot. We were not able to come back to this area. Then we left. So here we have an interesting area. Price came back. We didn't make it. We formed the child. Price came back. We tested it, and now we're kind of getting close to this one here. Okay, so we do have a couple of interesting areas, but for me, I would say that we want to be buying down here rather than selling, because if you look here on the weekly chart, I mean, there's not a lot to do in here. There's not a lot of interesting stuff going on. The only thing I think is interesting is this area here, this monthly area, and above that we have this. I like this one as well. It's an interesting area because when price left here, we managed to pull back the slingshot and then pretty much kind of remove everything else. So this is just pretty sideways looking. This one has already been tested. We've returned to that, and so I'd expect price to move through all of this and come back. I mean, up to here around the 76, 75-ish area. And once price has revisited this area, well, I'd expect price to go higher. We have this one here, which has been tested 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So the beginning of the sell zone is the high of the deepest retracement to here, and then we have this, which I really like. Oops, I don't know what happened there. We kind of had this price tested, and we kind of sat on the area, and then we left. And so we have a pretty interesting area up in here as well. And this is the nested weekly and monthly that we've marked off. Let me see where that one was. Here. It's going to mark it off with a line like so. Just here. I mean, this is a really nice area. We had this area, price tried to, we failed, we moved back down to it, we moved sideways, and then we left. So when price comes up here, I mean, you want to load the boat. This is a really nice trade. If this one fails, we have this one up here as well, which is also very delicious, but note the price has already been back to this area here. So you might want to go to the highs of this area here. You could take this. This is a monthly area afterwards, so we're certainly going to get a reaction. We just want to note the price has already been back to this area here. But there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. But shorter term, I think that we have a pretty interesting thing going on there. Let's see what the histogram is saying. Here we're getting pretty close to the highs here. We're reaching these pretty high areas here. Yeah, if we look at this, you can see that we're getting very close to this positive variant, so we can expect price to maybe turn around somewhere up here and feed back into this area here. I just like the way the price departed here. So the 6667 area, that's a pretty interesting area to look at there, I'd say. And on the 4-hour chart, if we manage to get a really nice kind of negative variant as price moves back into this area here, that might be quite interesting. There are also some nice areas below price, and on the hour we're probably going to get some nice areas above as well. Sorry, I mean, here we have, I mean, this is just a really nice test, resistance. This hourly area is the one that caused it, so you could refine this entry and you could boil it down to this little price nodule just here. I think this is about where price is probably going to bounce the 6668 area. This is the nice area. We have this one as well here, but price has already been banned to here, so I'd be keen on buying lower. This is already also interesting, but price is kind of messing around in that area, so there's not a whole lot of strength. This is the only area here that price rallied to, accumulated, and then left. Okay, but this has already been tested 1 time, so price is probably going to feed back into this area. I think this area here is going to play out quite nicely. We'll have to wait and see. Alright, so let's have a look at the Euro US dollar. I'm in this trade. I got in pretty, yeah, right there. This is where price is. I just like this little one here, how price kind of moved down. The slingshot was pulled back, massive wicks, then price left. I don't know why I got in that. I think the algo pulled me in at a little bit early, but right around here would have been an absolutely perfect spot. You can see how price went through, but we closed at the highs. That's telling us that we're not looking to trade above that area for the time being, but we do have this one here as well, which I like very much. So if this one doesn't work out, no worries, we have this one as well. This is just a nice area, the 112.70 area, and we got pretty close to it, so we'll have to see what happens. But the reason I think this is beautiful is because we have a very nice price imbalance. We have a lot of room. Price needs to rebalance this. Okay, so we have our stop up here. We just have a really nice risk reward on that trade. So yeah, let's see what happens. But we do have something here. You see how these price points is tested once, twice, three times, and then we cut through it, and we cut through it from here. So this is where I think price is going to go to. So maybe the target will be moved to around here, the high of that accumulation candle. We'll have to wait and see. So providing that this area holds and we do manage to wriggle south, then maybe we'll have a see if we can get out of the trade at roughly this area here. Okay, so that's a pretty interesting concept, and I think the reason it dove in there is because we poked into this this positive variant. Here we do have, I mean, I like this one here. This is pretty interesting here. Our price, there's something in down here at the lows. We tested it, failed. We tested it, we failed. We distributed, and then we cut through it. Okay, and then price just went up to the look at this. Okay, first of all, let's mark off the high and see why price stopped there. I just saw it. I just saw why. Right there. See, so this candle cut away, price came down, and you notice, I mean, these wicks are telling us a lot of story, where you have this candle closed below this one here, and the deepest retracement is here. And this is exactly where price came to. So I got in a little early. Damn you, Sareed. So anyway, we got a little early in that one, but you can see exactly where price returned to, which is stunning, a very stunning setup there. So that's very interesting. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I'm thinking, I mean, there's not a lot of demand in here. The only demand that we have is kind of getting close to here, and this is that area that we looked at on the large time frame. We actually have this. We kind of wriggle this lower, find out where price reacted. It reacted here. It's kind of around this area, like test, 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 and the area that did is this one. So we're probably going to have a tough time moving through here. So we'll have to wait and see. This is the 110, about the 110 area. Probably a pretty good place to get out of that. So we'll have to wait and see if this manages to work out for us. Okay, let me delete all of these objects, and we'll find something else to look at. Let's have a look at the pound, American dollar, monthly. Remove the histogram. So where are we? Yeah, I just went back and I had a look at a video that I did a few years ago, and price was, at the time of filming, price was right here. This candle just here, this green candle right here, was the one that was currently open, and we actually talked about selling this area here. We talked about selling right here at this area of supply. Price was just down here. We talked about selling at this one here. We had a bit of a bounce there, and then we discussed this accumulation candle here, and price went right to it. Found we ate into that that plate of pancakes, and then we just dumped lower. So fascinating how this stuff works. So price did go there, and it kept going lower, and we raced lower. We're really racing here. And so what we have to do is we have to do our analysis. We have to kind of walk backwards. So we start off by finding a valid area of supply, and we have one here. This is a very nice continuation pattern. Tested, it left. The slingshot was pulled back to here. This is the one that traded above it. So you go from here to here. So this is the one that did it. See the tested, consumed. The area that did it is something up in here. You can see there's a wick up there, so there's a slingshot up here somewhere. Tested, almost gone. This one went above, but we didn't manage to hold above it. Okay, we managed to move below it. But notice here as well that we have the sell zone. So we have kind of this area that was formed. Price is kind of moving down, slingshot, moving down, slingshot. So you go to the deepest retracement, then you just kind of look, where do we go? And you can notice this right here. See how this candle here is the deepest wick since the formation of this supply. This is pretty close to where price came to before it left. It shot up. We sat on it for a while and we left, and we really left. So this is one of those trades that you have to sit on for quite some time, because we are, after all, on the weekly chart. But currently, and you think like, well, what's going to happen now? Where are we? What's going to happen? So let's have a look at that. So currently, we have to identify an area of demand. Okay, so I'm going to find one. So we had this, and this is the area that is nice, and this is a nice one because just cut away, price moved below lows, below these lows here, price tested it, we managed to move through it. The area that did it is this one here, from the low, slingshot. This is gone, this is really gone, and so the area that did it is something up here. So we'll just mark off this whole whopping area, and we'll have a look and see on a smaller time frame where we might expect price to bounce. And so we need to find these little areas. Okay, so we have this area, which is nice. This is a nice area. Price didn't quite get there. The wick is here. This is where the slingshot was pulled back to, just here. We left. So now this one is gone, and so the area that removed it is actually, it's difficult to see, but it's this one here. So I'm guessing that we're probably going to have a bit of a bounce at the 128.18 area. This is not a distribution candle, but this looks like something that might attract some sellers. So let's have a look. Yeah, okay, and you can see it pretty clearly here, or more clearer. Where price came down, we moved sideways, we came down, and we sat on that area, and then boom, we cut away. This is just a really nice spot. And we also have this one above. Software has found all of these areas for us. So this one here, this daily area here, and the reason this is interesting is because, if you look at this, how we had like a low, and then price left, and we actually moved quite far, and price came back down, and this is the one that was strong enough to move through the low here. So if we zoom out, you can see, well, what else is at that low, which we can't see on that time frame, so we'll have to go to a bigger one. And we had this one here. This is the one, this area of demand is strong enough to move through all of this stuff here. Okay, and so I'm thinking that this is probably where we're going to start to see price slow down just a little bit. And we do have demand established, well, beginning to look that way, where we have this. Okay, tested, price moved through it. This one did it. Tested, price went up, we moved down, we moved up, accumulated, and then we left. So this one is now gone. The area that did it is this one here. So you've got this little one. We'll just take this whole area like that. So we have something here as well. This is the 123.30 area. Okay, and this is responsible for moving this. So I think if price manages to move back into here, we could get a pretty interesting push. Let's say our stop is here. It's like that. And our target is up here. That looks pretty interesting. So if we have 1, 2, so about a 2.5 to 1 reward risk, roughly, before we get to the bottom of this area here. So that might be an interesting trade there. I just like the sheer strength of the departure here. We managed to just remove all of this stuff here. This is micro supply, so this might be a pretty interesting spot to consider. If we have a look at the histogram, what are we doing? We're pretty low, which is good for our case. If we have a look on the 4-hour, if we manage to, I don't think we're going to get down there because the flows are certainly moving higher. So I'm thinking if we manage to poke into this area here, that might be pretty interesting. So we'll have to wait and see. Here there's a little bit more clarity as to where these areas are. We have this tested, this one removed it, and then we have kind of these parent areas kind of here. Price left here, we removed this stuff here, and all of this tested, and the one that removed this one is this one here. So we do have something in here.
just here at the lows, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Good, we're going on at 25 minutes, so I'm going to finish this up. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the video or in the Discord channel. And once again, thanks for watching.